So here's an all you need to know guide on how to beat the Elden Beast. Now I'll go through all of his attacks and how to avoid them, as well as how to stay nice and close to him and when to get some attacks off. Now the Elden Beast can't be affected by any status such as bleed or rot, and he is slightly weak to magic attacks as well as physical attacks. So you want to use any build for this fight. For the weapons, I usually use something that can deal lots of damage quite quickly, and also make sure I have physical damage protection or holy damage protection talismans, as they can be quite good for protecting you against damage there. Now for reference, I usually use the Black Flame Tornado Asher War on my Twin Blade, as well as Malekith's Black Blade Incantation for the range. I do find this to be the most effective weapon set for the fight. At the beginning of every fight, he starts out with this Fire Breath attack. Usually I just run behind him as this is a safe zone, and it allows you to get off quite a bit of damage when you're here as well. So do try and run behind him when he does initiate this attack at the start of the fight. If he does it throughout the fight, my best advice would be to run either directly right or directly left. As soon as the flames do start to touch the ground, keep running until all those flames disappear and you should be free from any damage. Now if you're really close to him, make sure to lock off your camera before you run behind him. These are some attacks that are guaranteed to happen at certain stages of the fight. Usually the first ring will appear around the 70% mark of his health bar, and the triple rings will appear when it gets less than 40% of his health bar. So here's what they look like. Now a ring should also start appearing around your character when he does reach the top of his jump. All we need to do to avoid the ring is just jump over it the moment it comes to our character, and we just have to keep running until we reach the circle that's outlined on the ground. Now I usually try and jump over these rings in the direction that I think the Elden Beast will land. So if you're wondering where he lands, it's just going to be the opposite direction that you're facing when he does initiate this attack. So just want to turn your character 180 degrees around and run towards that direction as he usually will spawn there. Do note that if you try and stand near him when he does initiate this attack, you will take some damage, so do try and start running away from him when he does jump up into the sky like this and the ring appears above his head. Now another guaranteed attack that is bound to happen at a certain stage is the Elden Stars. It can happen anywhere below 50% of his health bar, and it is quite hard to entirely avoid. So here's how I usually deal with it. Now as soon as the Elden Stars are cast, I cast my Lord's Divine Fortification Incantation that negates around 60% of the holy damage that you would receive, and is a really helpful incantation for this part of the fight. Now a trick is that if you do start to run away the moment that these stars are cast and just run in a straight direction away from that point, the stars might not catch up to your character, but if they do, try and focus on the incoming attacks that the Elden Beast will also be doing while these stars are happening. Now if they do start to encircle around you and deal lots of damage, what you can do is sort of run in a tight circle and then change the direction that you're running in, because they do track the character, they will also track those movements. So if you run in a circle, it will also do a circle, and that can slow it down and you get that space that you need. Okay, so now let's get down to the basics. He has very common attacks that he usually does throughout the fight. His most common attack, I would say, is his triple swing. where he swings right to left and then does one slam down onto your character. It's very easy to avoid. The timing is quite necessary to master though. Just dodge either right or left on the first two swings and dodge into him on the third swing and get some damage off here. There's a nice window for attack. Now, other sword attacks he can do is his thrust attack or his swing then his thrust attack. Just dodge these in any direction and you can do some damage off after he does this attack too. Now he has several delayed swings he also does as well. So just roll as the blade is about to make contact with your character. And here's some examples of what that looks like as well. So now for some of his holy attacks. His most common holy attack is this crystal rain attack. If you have a look here, you can see how he will glow, stand completely still and send shards up into the air and then down onto your character. It's very easy to avoid this attack. Just run in a very tight circle like this until all of the shards have disappeared. He has a running variation of this attack as well, where he will sort of run off into the distance while charging up that crystal rain attack. Once it is about to hit your character, just run in one small circle and then continue running in the direction that the Elden Beast is heading in. There's another version as well of his crystal rain attack, and by far the hardest one to properly avoid. This is his falling crystal rain attack. Now when you do see this attack incoming, you just start running towards the direction that the Elden Beast is going, so that might be towards your camera. You want to run directly to the right or to 3 PM on the clock and then curve your way clockwise all the way down to straight again, or around 6 PM on the clock. If you don't have the room to do this, or do lose your bearings on where the Elden Beast is, you can run in or roll in a tight circle to mitigate some of that damage, but you may still get hit by a couple of shards if you do that. So these are his 4 golden waves attack. He will swing up his sword into the air and fire off golden arcs at your character. It makes a distinctive noise when they're fired off. Now this one here is quite easy to avoid, you just have to master the timing again. I usually dodge towards him and listen for those sound cues to when it's being fired and dodge through these attacks straight on towards the Elden Beast, making your way towards him. This attack here is his hand slam attack. It comes out quite quickly and has a slow wind up, so it can throw you off. Just listen for when that wind up completes and his hand should come slamming down afterwards. You can dodge in any direction to avoid this, just make sure you time it correctly. This is his long arc attack. Now it has 3 different sections, close, mid and far. Now depending on where your character is, you may need to either roll into this attack if you're close, or run away and roll out of this attack if you're mid or far. So another thing you can do as well is if you're in the middle of that attack, you want to run towards him and then dodge the moment that he casts that glow and get behind him, and you can do quite a bit of damage here too. So this attack is his thrusting sword attack. He will raise his arm with a glowing sword and slam it into the ground 4 times before spinning around and slamming it down for a 5th time that follows up with a long distance wave. all you need to do is just roll away from him upon each slam down. On the 5th time, delay a roll and roll into his attack. This attack here is his falling sword. He will jump up out of the water and you'll see his sword start to glow before he will swivel down and land in a giant AoE explosion. Now, to avoid this, you just need to wait until he has reached the peak of his jump. He'll then fall rather quickly above your character's head. It does track you, so you want to sort of dodge either into it or away from it the moment that his sword is about to hit your character. For this next holy attack, he will slam his sword down into the ground and a circle AoE will appear around it. It does around 5 ticks of damage before it explodes. So you just want to try and make your way out of that circle before that explosion occurs. So you are safe the moment that your character is not in this circle zone, so you can stay quite close to the Elden Beast, and once the explosion finishes, you can run right back in there and get off some more damage too. For this grab attack, this one is quite tricky to avoid. Here's what it looks like if it does grab you. So what we want to do to avoid it is wait until that long wind up finishes and then dodge into it the moment that he grabs your character. Now, a good tip to know is that it does have a distinctive sound cue when he is performing this grab attack, so you just want to dodge the moment that you hear that sound. Here are the aura attacks that he does. They're quite pretty and very easy to avoid. Now he does send the aura straight forwards. All you need to do is walk or roll away from it. It doesn't do initial damage when he first fires it and does explode after a delay. So you want to make sure you're out of that purple mist before that explosion occurs. He does a side to side aura as well. So for this one, you just want to run as soon as you cast the attack, either directly to the right or left. You don't want to run away or roll away from this attack, as it does expand when it explodes. Now for the final attack that he does, it is his exploding star attack. So this one is a giant AoE that usually takes a while to explode. The Elden Beast will form this exploding star by spinning around very quickly in a circle, and the star will explode after a delay. Now to avoid it, all you need to do is start running as soon as you see him start to form this attack and keep running until that explosion occurs. Now you can run very close to the Elden Beast as long as you run in a straight line and keep running until that explosion does happen, and then you can get off some damage here as well. Okay, so that's all the attacks that he does. Now I know there's quite a lot to remember there, but good thing is that he won't do all of these attacks in the same fight unless you're fighting him for a really long time. I had to take around 4 or 5 different videos just to get all the clips for this one. So I hope that it was helpful to those who are stuck on the Elden Beast. So make sure to check out part 1 on Radigan if you haven't done so already, as that should help you get through him, and hopefully this helps you get through the Elden Beast. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoy your next playthrough.